discussed in our previous sessions as well, that for implementation, mostly we'll be using Google Colab. So because like here the computation runs within the cloud and most of the packages will come pre-installed. Okay, so we don't have to spend our time installing those again. But in case, I would recommend to have Python installed in your system, and then also to try like how we can install like TensorFlow, and like what are the dependencies what you'll have. And in case if you have a GPU, then the way TensorFlow works needs some dependencies. So those you will be knowing like only in case if you install it in a local system, because here it will come all pre-configured. So okay, so maybe we'll take a session on that at later point, like how like what are the dependencies in case if you have a GPU in your system, and if you want to utilize GPU for TensorFlow. Okay, we'll see that in one more session. But at today's session, we focus on like how to design a convolutional neural network. Okay, neural network. Short form is like con. Okay, neural network. Okay, so again, like let's take a reference of the TensorFlow tutorial. So actually, it has very good tutorial for even CNN as well, and like even further advanced networks. So like just to get an idea like how these things work. So let's jump onto this and see like how actually CNN works. Okay, so let me look at it. Like where is it? So for now, what we'll do is we'll take an image classification problem and try to solve using CNN. Okay, so here is where you have CNN. Okay, so let's use it. Okay, so here the idea is to like we'll refer this, but anyway like we'll be uh, like running it like line by line, and I'll be explaining like what it contains. Okay, so let me copy these like import examples. So what it contains is as like import TensorFlow as TF. There is also one more thing, like previously we used to use tf.keras.layers and dot dense, and then we used to use, right? So similarly instead directly now from keras.layer import datasets and import also layers and models directly. So we can directly use datasets dot something or models dot something, layers dot something like that, instead of again starting with tf dot keras dot and all. Okay, so importing it, it's loading. So let it load. By the time, let me jump here. And like in our previous session, we have seen like we have worked on like minus data set, right? So similarly, there is a cipher data set. Okay, so this again is available within our TensorFlow. Let's use that. Okay, so and again like dot load data, if you do this cipher dot load data, then it will already have a split of train test images. Let's see what that image has. Okay, but this in case we want to have it, so it takes some time because like, it is quite larger data set compared to minus data set, but still it will be like some 40 MB 50 MB, not more than that, like because the image size is very small here. So what we should do is like for any set of data set, okay, it doesn't matter if it is like a standard data set what you got directly, or maybe your own data set what you have created by yourself, or some proprietary data set. What you should be doing is first step is, once you have done this train test split, you should be let's explore like what image kind of images it is, and then depending on that we can take necessary steps. Okay, so let me see like what is the shape of this. Oh, okay, I did not do P. Okay, so you can see there are like 50,000 images of 32 cross 32 cross 3. So this time it's not a grayscale image, it's a colored image. Okay, so similarly let's also see the test images. Okay, so test images dot shape. Okay, so again it's like 10,000. So 10,000 images for like test, and then 50,000 images for train. Okay, now let's quickly plot one of this training image, and to look like how actually the data looks. So again, there are like two ways. Like one is using Matplotlib, you can plot the image, or like there is one more way to use OpenCV to do it. If it is just plotting, Matplotlib would be enough. Like in case you want to modify image, like do some kind of a pre-processing, complex pre-processing, then maybe we can go for OpenCV. But here in this case, like if it is just for viewing, right? So we don't need like OpenCV. So here this looks quite blurred, right? So this doesn't look very good here. So let me see if it is good here. So maybe see some other, the quality of Cypher dataset won't be so good because this is very old dataset. Okay. So, and there will be few, like you can see how blurry it is, but there are labels for each of them. So let me see. You can see slightly it's a bike on a road, no, truck on a road. Okay, right? So there are wheels. Like if you, maybe if you plot it in OpenCV, maybe it will adopt to that size and then it will plot, I think. Or you can have this way also. So let me use the same. Like here they are trying to plot first 25 images by having it, like, because it is extending it a large, right? So that image is very small, so it's not coming with clarity. So what they have done is they have allotted only they try to make it like through subplot and trying to plot it. So let me also use the same thing. So it has nothing but just like they are looping about first 25 objects, and each one they are plotting, and like it was only, it will take like 5 by 5 as a figure size. Okay, because like if you are plotting a whole, like each you are giving only 5 by 5, this is also not with a good clarity, but this may look better than this because here it is getting stretched as a big, right? So let me use the same and run it.
We can give lesser resolution, right, to get more
Yeah, yeah,
clarity in this case.
you can give yeah, fixed size. You,
Yeah,
what you
we
should
can
do
give
is
4
like
by
fixed
4, right?
size.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's try that as well. Okay. Yeah, yeah. You can give like what you want. Okay, here in the subplot. So subplot here is 5 by 5, in the sense you are giving a matrix 5 by 5, means like it's a 5 by 5 matrix, and figure size here they have given it as 10 by 10. The 10 by 10 is the whole 25 image combined. So here, in case if you want to plot, what we can do is we can fix size, maybe keep it 2 by 2. Let's see that and see like what variation we get. So you can see now, like it is much clearer, right, that it is a truck. Are you able to see, identify that it is a truck or not? Or maybe
yeah,
put one, right? Yeah, okay. So let me put 1 by 1. So now it is much clearer. So it is very, I mean, like the kind of site image size is very, very small, and the clarity being very low. So this, yeah, like use this, the people used it like 10-15 years back, but now they are going for like much clearer, and there are like few other data set, but that will be like very large to import now. Okay, so anyway, like this there are like few there is something like label as well, right? So what label contains is the, let me see this, label of 0. Okay, so this will contain some class. Okay, so each class, actually this is supposed to have photo the images of these classes. Okay, so Cypher 10 is like 10 class data set. So it contains these classes, and out of these classes, it will be labeled as like 0 for aeroplane, like 1 for automobile, like that. Okay, so they are trying to plot for those indices here. Okay, so this is how it is done. So, and so they are printing what is it actually like labeled. So now what is our idea is to identify, classify if some image is given like this. Okay, this is a frog, it should our model should identify that this is a frog. And if a model should identify this is an automobile, this is a ship, this is a horse, and like this. Okay, so this is how it should identify. So that is our focus. Okay, and there are like this may contain 2-3 objects, but it can only give a single class. Okay, so you can also portray it as a multi-label classification, where in case if 2-3 objects are there, it can give output as 2-3 objects, but the labels are only one here. So this is multi-class instead of a multi-label one. Okay, so let's go forward and try to use the next part of code. Now what we'll do is, now how actually the convolution neural network is, right? Sorry, not convolution, your data is, right? So we have to design a convolution neural network for for the given data. Okay, so now let's jump on to our nodes and then try to design this network. So now let's try to like design this convolution neural network within our page. Okay, and before jumping onto code, let's try to do it here. So what exactly are we doing? CNN. Let me. I'm writing it, representing it by CNN is convolutional neural network. For this is Cypher dataset. Cypher 10. Okay, so this 10 actually means 10 classes over there. So now what is your input? Your input is 32 cross 32 and depth is 3, right? 32. You have 3 layers in depth. This is 3. So this is your image now. Okay, this is for a single image, like you have weight, height, width, height and depth here. So for this, now we have to give it as an input to a convolutional layer. So what convolution layer we'll be using is, we have to go for a convolutional layer here. So that convolutional layer, what it should do is, so it should take this input. Okay, and it should like we have to, like it should have this layer filter here. So this filter, it should be moving across like various like this, right? Like just like how we have discussed before in a previous session, that like it will move by giving, if we give like a stride value, it will move like this, like this, like this, and it will give. So for that, what are the things needed is, let me write convolutional layer. So the things needed are something like this: number of filters. So how many of these kind of filters are required? And next part is filter size. Okay, so apart from these two, there is something like stride, means S, and pool, what type of pooling you want. So actually, like you can do it separately or maybe add with this. Like if you don't give, it will be 0, right? So it wouldn't impact. Even if you don't specify like what is a stride, it will take by default 1. So and filter size and filter parameter, like these two are needed. Okay, so these two are mandatory. Like I don't know if there is a default value for those, but like these two have a default value. Okay, so this you don't have to worry. Like mainly these two are what we should worry. So this is what we need. So let's, usually what people do is, they will take filter size 3 by 3 in most of the cases. You can also take 5 by 5 or 7 by 7. So if you take larger filter size, what will happen is, it will actually skip many, right? So it is consolidating so many, and finally your output will be smaller. I don't know if it is smaller. It should be smaller. So, and apart from that, so using this, actually it consolidates so many points at a time, right? So actually the scope will be bigger, but actually you'll be your output dimension will be little less. Okay, so but to start with, like let's use filter size 3. Okay, so this is like mostly used in most of the examples. They will go for 3 is filter size, and number of filters is like what it will decide your output. Okay, so if you take like filter size 3, what will be your output? So it will be something like this. Your output will be uh, W minus F plus 2P by S. Okay, so W is like 32 minus F is filter size 3 plus 2P, this is 0 by 1. Okay, it will be to remove 29, right? So actually there is +1 or -1 here. Okay, I did not check that. So if it will be +1, I forgot to let me correct this formula here. So there will be a +1 over here. Yes, it is there. +1 is there. So your output size will be 30. Okay, so your output here is 30 into 30 into, so this actually your filter will also be 3D, right? So it is till here it's fine. So now what will be your like third dimension is, as discussed, it depends on your number of filters. Okay, so depending on your number of filters, your final depth will be. Okay, so usually what they try to do is they'll try to increase this depth. As you go on, this depth will get increased. Okay, so that is what we need, mean for like also deep neural network, right? So you start increasing your depth. Okay, so what you do is, instead of 30 into 30, instead of 3, now it will be number of filters. So your number of filters, usually they will go for in terms of like 2 power somethings. Okay, so maybe 2 power 4, 2 power 5, 2 power 6, 2 power 7, which is like 16, 32, and it is 64. This is 128. So something in these things, like depending on your image size as well. Okay, so your image dimensions are 32 by 32, right? So you don't go for like much bigger value, because like it will like it will be more redundant, because your input is small and then you are trying to do with like so many filters. Actually is not much recommended at single layer. So and one more thing, you start with smaller, and as you go on, like increasing more convolution layers, right? So increase this thing. Okay, so increase the number of filters. So initially, let me take 16 or 32. So in this example, like we took like 32 here. So let's follow the same. So and number of filters are 32, and so you will get 32 as a dimension here. Okay, so from 32 cross 32 cross 3, you went to 30 cross 30 cross 32. So you have increased the number dimension enormously, right? So the number of values you have are like so huge compared to this. Okay, so now what you do is, you can have an activation function after this. Maybe put a relu. Let me put it here as well. Okay, usually people use relu now, like in most of the cases. So let me use the relu activation again. So you can also specify that activation within that code as well, like while implementing, you can specify it here. And maybe you can do pooling separately instead of specifying it in the layers. You can also do pooling separately here. Maybe keep a pooling here, max pool. Okay, so you can do it separately. With size, again you have to mention what is the filter size you need. So usually like a 2 by 2 would be fine, or 3 by 3, anything is fine. Okay, so usually like 2 by 2 people use. And then what they'll do is, like this is one layer. Okay, one set of your convolution, activation and pooling. So next set, again you can have a similar kind of layer, right? So again you can have a convolution and maybe a relu and maybe pool. Okay, like this you can have like this, right? So what your output will be is, so here if you see after pooling, it will be slightly reduced, right? Because 2 you are passing through a filter, and then this dimension wouldn't change till here. So but after this, actually while you are using this convolution again, so again here the number of filters and all are matters, right? So number of filters, previously we used 32, right? So let's use 64 now. Okay, how many filters what you have, you can again, like you can have, right? Previously we used like 32 filters. Now we decided to go for like 64. We can increase or maybe stay with the same number of filters. Okay, so once you do that, what will happen is, so and filter size, we can retain the same filter size, or it's your wish, like you can change it. Mostly like if you are not sure, then go for a default vector size, which is 3. So, and then again strides, if you want, you can keep, or like leave it, then it will be default as s equal to 1, p equal to 0. So okay, leave it. And then again you can do a max pooling, maybe 2 by 2, or you can actually specify that here as well. Okay, so it will do the max pooling, and then depending on that, it will maybe add or remove the values over there. Okay, and maybe do a relu again. So this is how you will be doing. Okay, and you can also add like some more layers. It's, you are free to use like how many layers you want. Okay, so but remember, for using like each layer, you are adding like some lakhs of parameters to it, nearly to the lakhs. You don't say lakhs because it depends on your dimension here. So you can you are adding like so many values. Okay, and what are actual weights here? Okay, so your weights are your filters. Okay, so here there are 32 filters, right? And each is 3 by 3. So 3 by 3, and a depth is 3. If you take this way, so if you take this way, what you actually have is a kind of like 3 by 3, which is like 3 cross 3 cross 3, which will be 9 threes are 27 weights for each. And like this, you have like 32 filters. Okay, 27 into 32. Again, you have some values, right? So that is at one level. Similarly, like likewise, you will again have like few more filters at this level. Again, you have few more filters at like that. They remember, like by adding like number of filters, you are actually increasing the complexity of your model. Okay, and okay, so that is what you have here. So let's move on and see like how actually this has been implemented in TensorFlow. Okay, so before that, what you can also do is like add few more convolutional layers. Okay, it's not done yet, right? So, or maybe you can also remove this pooling. You can just have this relu and pooling, like, and then leave it as well. So you can also do this way, or in case, because these are optional, right? It is just like handcrafting. You, how you want, you can design your model that way. Okay, so you have this. Now you got some output. Okay, so this output, what you can do is you can flatten it, and then means like you'll be having a three-dimensional value over here, right? So that you can flatten it. So why we are flattening it, why we are flattening it is, as we have seen even in dense neural networks. So what you do is you flatten, means like the same one, what you have is like 1 2 3 4. In case if you have something like this, you make it as a single long vector 1 2 3 4. Okay, so like this. So once you do that, what will be done is then you can have a dense layer. Okay, this is like means like 0 0 0. So you can have depending on your size over here, you can have something like this. Or because like your filters are 64, you can go forward with the same 64 over here, where what will happen is it will be a kind of a network fully connected layer here. And then number of outputs, then what we can give an output layer. So output layer here is like for cipher 10, right, which contains 10 classes. So you can have define one more layer which will have like from 0 1 2 so on till 9. Okay, so again a dense layer, dense of 10. This is dense of 64. So this is how, this is your final output, this is your input. So this is your network, complete network. This is your complete network. Let's try to implement it. Let me summarize it like quickly here, smallly. You take input is 32 by 32 cross 3. Okay, taking this input, you can have a conv layer with filter size, number of filters 32, and let me denote with k, and the filter size is 3, and there are no strides and things. And then you are using activation as relu and max pool of 2 by 2. Okay, and again one more con, and k equal to 64 now, f equal to 33, and activation is relu and max pool again 2 by 2. Again one more con. So actually I'm also referring to the implementation what is done in the TensorFlow tutorial. so that we don't deviate with the code over there. But if like explanation also looks like clear, right? So why we took this and all, like, so if it is clear, then it's okay. So, and the number of filters, filter size is again 3, and you can also increase or maybe leave it the same way. So activation is ReLU, and then there is no max pooling. I'm not doing any max pooling. And here flatten first. Okay, let me, now what we are doing is flatten, and then a dense 64, and then dense 10. Okay, so this is your output. So this is what we have to like code over there. Okay, this looks quite simple, right? Like, just that we need to know these values. So what actually is different from just doing it from by taking a code from outside, and this is by tuning these parameters. Okay, so you will modify your what you say, your model. Okay, so this model is actually these parameters, right? So other than that, like by how many convolution layers you want, how many dense layers you want, how many what combination it should give, like it's all your own thought. Like it's a kind of a art. Okay, for designing a model is a kind of a art. You should know these basics, what each of these parameter will do, and then depending on that, you can start doing this way. So only one thing you have to remember is you can keep filter size same most of the cases, and then like filter number of filters you can start increasing, or maybe keep it a constant, but usually people don't decrease it. So, and similarly activation function, in case if you are not sure, you can go with ReLU, because in case if you are going for a deeper neural network, like where you add more and more layers, what you do is like the gradient we saw, like we discussed in a differentiation about this gradient diminishing problem. So that will be tackled by using a ReLU activation, and then a max pool again. That is okay. So with this, you can build a convolutional neural network. Okay. So let's quickly jump onto a code and then implement this. So let's, like, just before starting this CNN design, so let's see the image. We need to normalize, right? We did not do a normalization over here. So what we took is directly these values and this train images. Let's try to look at one of those images, like, because like your values will be within like 0 to 255, but it is ideal to have it between 0 to 1. It is recommended to have it at least like -1 to 1 or 0 to 1. Okay, so that like your training will be better and your optimizer will take much easily. So if you see these values, like I'm looking at one of the values here, like for the 0 data set, you have values varying from somewhere around 0 till 255 actually, but I could see only 216 here. So a maximum. So, but usually it will vary from 216, sorry, 0 to 255. So what we do is we'll do a normalization step here. So in that case, what we do is we'll divide by 255, because minimum is anyway 0, right? So if it's a kind of a min-max scaling. So if you do divide by 255, all your values will be within 0 to 1. Okay, let me do that both for both tests and train and test images by doing this way. Okay, so I'm doing this now. And if you see now, see all your values now. Just now we have seen it is in values ranging from 0 to 255. Now it ranges from 0 to 1. Okay, so this is how normalization will help you in getting your values within 0 to 1. Now let's design network. So implement, we have already designed it on paper. So now let's implement of CNN. Okay, till now what we did is only, oh, okay, we need to, wow, okay, it's in a, so what we have decided is like have, let me first initialize the model here this way. So model, we have to define that like our model will be sequential model. So, and then we can start adding layers to it. Okay, how to add is model dot add, and now our convolution So you can see that we have to specify the input shape. So the shape is like 32 by 32 by 3. Okay, so you can specify that shape to this model here, and then you can give the layers. So you can like one thing you have to understand, observe is your input shape is like 3-dimensional, right? So for 3-dimensional convolution you are using is like 2-dimensional here. Okay, so that is the only difference what you can observe. So let me add that here. So let me tell you. So this is a 3 by 3, like filter size is 3, and then number of filters are 32, and you are using an activation layer of ReLU here. And for first layer, right? So for input, you should specify what the input size will be, because like in the next layers, and depending on that only, like the weights of next layers will be. So you have to specify your input shape for convolution layer. So you specify this. This should be done only once, because for intermediate layers, the output from a previous layer will be input, right? So you have to specify only for the first layer. So here we are specifying as 32 cross 32 cross 3. So cool, this is done. And then what they are trying to do is a max pooling of 2 by 2. Okay. So max pooling of 2 by 2. And again, they are repeating the same. Okay, let me copy the same. See now, in the second layer, like this is one set of convolution layer. Okay, this combined, you can say this is convolution plus there is activation and as well as max pooling. There is no strides here, but you can specify your own strides if you want. So, and now this time they are modifying only number of filters. Okay, and they are using the same max pooling what they used before. So this is and then finally with a 64 layer. Okay, so and this they are doing, and then as I told you in this one, they are not going with max pooling in this in the third time. They are only doing it twice, but it's optional and it's up to you how to use it. So if you do it like a different way, it doesn't affect anything, like you don't have to worry about it. And then what they are trying to do is flatten it, and then dense is 64 and with activation layer of ReLU, and then dense is 10. Okay, finally they are doing it this way. So this is your entire code, like what we have drawn, right? This is your entire CNN network. And then what you can do is finally you can do a model.summary that will actually give you what layers you have, how many parameters, that information. Okay, so now let's run it. Okay, done. So what it is starting with like a convolution layer. So what this none contains is like if this is given for batch size, because you can send multiple images at a time, right? So in that's why like the first one is none, and then it is 30 cross 30 cross 32. We have calculated that in our if you look at our notes, we have calculated why we got what the output size will be. It is 32 cross 30 cross 30. So and these are the number of parameters. So these are dependent on our what you say filter size and number of filters. Okay, and then there is a max pooling. Max pooling has reduced these values to half, because out of two values there will be only a single value coming, right? So that way it has reduced your dimension to half, and then again this is given as input to this model. Okay, in the new model, like number of filters, like previously you can see number of filters are 32 over here, so your output size is 32. Similarly, in the second convolution, number of filters are 64, so your output is 64. You can see these two dimensions are reducing from 32 cross 32 cross 3. It has reduced to 13 cross 13 cross 64. So you can see this is increasing, means like the depth of your network is increasing. Okay, so on next case, like if you see again, like they are doing max pooling, then it will be reduced to half. And in the next part, what they are doing is using the same number of filters. And because you are using a convolution with the layer 3, okay, so 6 minus 3 plus 1, so which will be 4. So 4 by 4. So you can see there is an enormous decrease from 32 to 4 by 4. Okay, so and this is increasing. So and again you have like these many parameters you can calculate depending on number of filters, and this one what you say, like filter size and number of filters here. So next what we have is a flatten layer. So what is this flatten layer will do is, what you have, it will be a single layer. Okay, so it is 4 cross 4, 4 into 4 into 64, 16 into 64, which is 264 to 1024. So if you flatten, it will come this way, 1024. Okay, so after you do this, what we are trying is, then we are adding a dense layer of 64. We got it. And the weights will be 1024 into 64, and plus you also have a bias term, right? So plus 64 it will add, and this will be your values here. And then finally one more, which will be like from every 64 you'll be connecting to this 10. So it will be, weights will be 64 into 10, it is 640, plus again bias terms for these 10 will be there, right? So total 650. So this is how your final parameters is. And for this network, you have 1,22,000 parameters. Okay. So if you can observe from your previous like dense network, okay, in that example, for a smaller network even, like we had like 1 lakh parameters. But here, what you have is a larger network, right? So comparatively, it is very large network, but still we have lesser parameters. Why? Because we like previously what we are doing is, for each of a unit, like you are having one weight, right? So each of the pixel you are connecting to each of other pixel, and then so you have like one weight for each pixel. But here, instead of for a pixel, each pixel, you are having weights for entire window, right? So you are sharing your parameters. So that's why actually for convolutional, the network is large and it will be more complex, but your number of trained parameters will be comparatively less for the same kind of input size if you use it for a dense layer. Okay, so this is quite good actually, like because you are doing so many things, but still your number of parameters are very less. Okay, so but not very less, this is still like more than 1 lakh. Okay, so in case if you want to train it, if you are training without GPU, it will take quite a long time. So now let's see like how we'll be training it. Okay, so before training, what we need to have is, we have defined a model. Next thing is, we have to define a loss function, right? So just like how we used in last session, we'll use the same cross entropy loss. So that will be here, and use the same active optimizer Adam. So here it is like sparse categorical cross entropy loss, and matrix is accuracy. Okay, so let me take the same and have it here. Okay, let me run it. Okay, so now what will happen is, so this optimizer and loss are now assigned to your network. Okay, so you have to optimize with Adam, and you have to use minimize this loss function. Okay, and matrix, what you have to observe is accuracy. Okay, so next what we do is, we do a fit. So what we can also do is parallelly, like so let me do this. So model.fit, and you have trained images, test images, right? This is trained images, trained labels. This is X and Y, okay? And you can mention how many epochs you want, and you can parallelly do the validation for each epoch. In case if you want to do it that way, you can do it like this, okay? Previously in our last implementation example in dense layer, we did not do this part here. Instead, we did it later, saying that model.evaluate, and then we gave this. It has given us metrics. Okay, so now here, like it will be done if you provide it within this value, it will be done every epoch. So let's try running it and see what will happen. Okay, you can see here, so it is running like starting with first epoch. There are like, again, if you give a, like if you don't specify, the default batch size will be like 32, I guess. So we can anyway calculate it, right? So what we have is, let me open a calculator. So we have 50,000 samples each. Like we are having how many iterations here? 1563. Oh, sorry, 50,000 divided by 1563. So it is 31.9. Okay, it's actually 32 batch size again, like and so at a time there will be 32 images which they'll pass, and finally it will calculate. Okay, you see when here the first epoch is taking quite a long time, right? So previously we have seen like that is a very small image and it's not even 2 dimension, it's a grayscale, right? So there it did not take much time. Here even for first epoch it's taking quite a long time. So these are the accuracies, and similarly they have done it on a validation set as well. So this is a validation accuracy and validation loss. Okay, if you observe further for the next epochs, you can get much better values. Let's move on, like till by the time this happens, let's go on to the code, and let me try to explain from there instead of us waiting here. Okay, so what happens is this way. So this is a output of the same output. Okay, you can see the log here. The output initial accuracies are 0.044, and then this way. And actually you can see number of seconds it took is 4 seconds for them, but for our case it's taking 67 seconds for a single epoch. So from this you can calculate how much time it will take for your what you say for your entire epochs to be done. Okay, 67 into 10, it will be 670 seconds, it will be 10 minutes. Okay, we don't want to wait for 10 minutes here. So by the time I'll be explaining what else can be done. Once it is done, like we can jump on here. Okay, so these are the 10 epochs. You can observe the loss is moving from 1.5 to 0.59. Okay, so the loss of training loss is decreased. Let's also see the same thing happening for validation loss or not. So on the test set from 1.3, it has been decreased to 0.84, right? It is also decreased, but there is a gap between these two, right? And you can also see the accuracies here. It is 70% accurate, because even data is not so clear, right? So the accuracy will be slight less. You can plot these accuracies and like loss functions here by doing this way. So what you can do is this, we are saving, actually what is happening is this model.fit, this part we are saving in history here. So this contains all those like what are the computation, what are happening, right? Those information will be stored here for each epoch. So you can see that, and you can plot it this way: history.history accuracy, it will be for train accuracy. History.history, if you put val accuracy, it will be for validation loss, like validation accuracy, for the validation data. So you can means like train data and test data. So here the blue one is a train data, and the orange one you can see here, it is a test data. You can see finally after 10 epochs you have a good accuracy for train data. Even for test it was like more than, it is 71%, right? You can see it from here. So 71% is decent accuracy, given that your like quality of your data set as well. Okay, so finally you got this as your test accuracy. Okay, so this is the one what you can report. And also along with this, what you can also do is also mention a confusion matrix, because this is a classification problem, right? You have to compute a classification problem and mention it. So let me jump on to this image classification. It may be taking the same data set and use it. Oh no, they have used some other data set, but here they want to classify various roses, okay, and tulips like this. So I'm directly jumping to down, so because this will be same, right? So same as before. So let me go down. If they have, like, again, see, you can have these all these things. Okay, let me go down. So this is also same, no difference at all. So here yeah, here at least they have plotted the validation loss and training loss. You can see like this is not quite good at all, right? So your training loss has come down, but your validation loss came down till epoch 2, and then it started increasing. So I think we have discussed about this, right? So here it is underfitting, and this side it is overfitting. You have to go with the best model between them, which will be this two. Okay, so you have to take the epoch output of like model number 2, so epoch number 2 model as your best model. Okay, and you can see that also at 2 your validation accuracy is decent, is like 65, and your train accuracy is like also near to 65. So after that, it actually is being doing overfitting. Okay, these kind of issues will come up. See, I think they have discussed about this overfitting and all. Okay, so we'll see that later. Okay, like I actually want to show you something else. So if they have gone for confusion, no, they did not show any confusion matrix, but you know how to do a confusion matrix, right? So what classes it has identified and what is the real class. Like that, we can plot a confusion matrix and report them for a kind of a performance of your model. Okay, so let's see if this is done. It's not done yet. So okay, so this will anyway be similar to this, right? So don't worry with that. So just that only step remaining is plotting this accuracy, which will be like this. So once this is done, anyway, I'll share this notebook with you guys. So and you can see that. Okay, so that's it for today's session. So let's tomorrow we'll see this example where it is overfitting, because this one has come nicely, but in reality, like if you take like much complex data set, it will do overfitting. So how to tackle that overfitting is one more concept what we'll discuss. Okay, so yeah, that's it for today. Let's meet again tomorrow for a new session. So now you can see, like before closing, let me complete this. So like you can see now the 10 epochs are done, and the loss of like training loss is like now 61.61, and then your validation loss is 0.87 from 1.5 on 1.2. It's quite a significant decrease, right? So if you plot these terms, like it will be much clearer like how these are. And similarly, your accuracy is like 0.7, and here it is 0.7.8. Let's plot and see like what actually this contain. So here, if you see the history, why we have saved it is like this contains all those information what we require. So even here, there is this. So let me jump on to the code over there and then look at it. They have given a code for plotting for accuracy over there. So let's use the same code. And similarly, we will also plot it for loss. Okay, so this is for accuracy, like both training and testing accuracy, validation accuracy here. So your train accuracy is this blue, and your test set accuracy is this orange. So both are going decent. Okay, like this is quite accepted given the quality of your image. So and then now let's also do for losses. Like let's also plot train and test loss. Okay, I don't know if this is all like saved or not, but let's try. Okay, let's see if this is there or not. Okay, so it's plotting. Yes, done. So you can see your train loss is like this, and your validation loss is slowly trying to flatten. Okay, so what you can see is like at some level, when it is less, it is this level, it is less, right? At epoch number 7, it has got a best model from comparatively. So you can take that model as well, because like what is happening is after that your validation loss is slowly increasing. So you can also observe from the numbers here. So here it is like actually epoch 8 is like 83, and again it started increasing. So it's slowly overfitting. Okay, so what we should take is the best model from here. So how to do that is like again we'll discuss again in the next sessions. By adding more terms, like a few more part of code, we can actually get the best model from there. And also we can in case if it is overfitting, we can what we should do and how to stop it, like we can also discuss those things. Okay.